Louis, of course, another game coming around, quick turnaround tomorrow for you. But I mean, first things first, obviously with the news on Greg's injury on Saturday, how is he sort of doing at the minute? Have you kind of spoken to him much since then?
Yeah, within context of the situation, Greg's doing okay. His family's with him and has been with him since Saturday night after the injury. Fraser stayed down with him as well, and some other club officials looked after him until his parents could arrive at the hospital on Saturday night. But he's had his surgery on Sunday, and he's looking to come back up to the northeast today or early tomorrow. So yeah, like I say, within relative terms, he's doing okay. He's had the surgery, it's went as planned. And he's got his family around him, and he's had the support that he's needed so far.
Yeah, and I mean, you touched on that as well with him sort of planning to come back up to the northeast fairly soon as well. I suppose important for the rest of the boys to get around him as soon as possible and help as much as can be in terms of even just integrating, I suppose, around the place while he is back in the northeast as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think the boys really want to see him first of all to, check in on him and have a big crack with him, and just be around him because. He's an infectious character. He's very close to a lot of the players, which is one of his super strengths as a captain, because he's a great human being first and foremost. Before a footballer, before a captain, he's got some real close connections with players in the group and with the staff. So the guys want to be around him in his time of need, because he's been there plenty of times on the flip side, whether it's been football related or more personal stuff. We've already had conversations with the coaching team of how we can make sure that he's around the group as much as possible, first of all for his rehab and recovery. We've had conversations about how we will look after him, but also where we can go and get extra help so that Greg benefits from the best recovery, because that's what he deserves as a custodian and a long serving at this football club, and then also some other plans as well in terms of wrapped around his rehab and his recovery to make sure that he feels fully a part of the journey for the next 12 months or however long his injury is, whether that's as a player or as a slightly different role as well. So yeah, we're really looking after Greg. Like I say, what happened on Saturday was quite hurtful to the group in terms of losing Greg, the injury that he's suffered because of the sort of person that he is, but it'll just be more motivation to make sure that when he does return as as captain of this football club, that the football club and the team and everything around it is a much better place, because that's what he deserves.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the rest of the boys there. How is everyone else doing since then, really? Because, it's a bit of an unexpected thing that you don't, walk into a football pitch expecting to see that happen to not only one of your team, it's, like you say, one of their friends as well.
Yeah, I think the most of the boys are okay today. It knocked a few of the players who were kind of in and around the incident immediately. Some of the players that obviously have known Greg for a long time, and, after the game, the group, it was, a bit of a process to move beyond what the injury had happened, and then to kind of, so we say, if you could say, celebrate the victory. Very much everyone's thoughts were with Greg, but also I think what's important to put on record, which I know has already been kind of commented on in the press and whatnot, is that Greg wanted the game to go ahead and he wanted the job to be finished, and I think that was a reflection. Obviously, like I say, we our thoughts immediately went to Greg after the game, but also as well, he wouldn't want us sitting dwelling on the injury for too long, and he'd want us to not celebrate, but to enjoy the 3 points. And one thing that showed ultra class from everyone involved in the football club, from the players on the pitch, the players and staff on the side of the pitch, to even the board representatives that were only a couple of yards behind the dugout, is that the fact that we dealt with that scenario to someone that is just pivotal to this football club and central to this football club on and off the pitch, the way that the guys rallied that around that, got the job done in a very professional way, didn't allow their emotions to get the better of them for the period of time afterwards in around the football game, because obviously you've got them deep lying feelings of Greg, but then you've got the emotions of the game, the adrenaline, the intensity the competitive nature, the fact that no one kind of was affected in that period and was able to keep a professional front, I think is a reflection of the culture of this football club, and I was proud of each and every person that was representing Gateshead on that day.
Yeah, and as well, I think Joe was due in for a scan back end of last week on his injury the week prior as well. Is there any real sort of update on him at the minute or not?
There's no update on Joe. He has had some consultations and some scans, but I think we're just still looking to identify the best way to map out his recovery and his rehab, so that we can get Joe the best care and get the love and attention that he needs, whilst also then kind of the secondary thought is getting him back into the squad as quick as possible. It's incredible. Greg's injury happened on Saturday, and obviously Joe's happened the week before, but obviously again Joe's a pivotal member to this group and has not been forgotten about, and yeah, it's just going to show some resilience from the whole group, but we want to do right by Joe as well, because again, what a fantastic representative Gateshead Football Club he is. But we've had some positive conversations and we haven't got a clear picture of how we're going to move things forward, but we should do in the next couple of days. But that comes from taking my time and doing my due diligence on the best options, and then making sure that it's the best course going forward once we have all the facts.
Yeah, and of course mentioned earlier, you are back in action tomorrow with a trip down to Halifax. Obviously the injuries last weekend and the weekend before have overshadowed it a bit, as you know they naturally will do, but things on the pitch in terms of results have been going well for you so far. So how's the prep for tomorrow been going, really? Yeah,
the prep for tomorrow's been good. Reviewed the game from Saturday, and even though we played against 10 men for the large majority of the game, there was good signs in the first 12 minutes that we were going to play through with success against their high press. And then once the game changed, when they dropped down to 10, ultimately they've got 10 outfield players working working within 15-20 yards of their edge of the box, the width of the box. The pitch was dry and it was sticky, and it wasn't conducive to our normal slick quick combinations and passes in around the box to try and isolate players and to play quickly, to break down the press. But what it did allow us to do was to work on a different part of our game, which was putting the ball at risk in around the box, putting the ball into crossing zones, into areas where we can try and score goals from on the first phase or on the second and third phase as they come back out and disrupt it again. So there was some real good learning and kind of reinforcement of some of our processes that take place. And I think what's the best thing over the last couple of games is, our performances have been really good. That's what we focus on, we're process driven, and ultimately that has got the outcome. So we're just looking to continue that momentum going into tomorrow's game. Halifax are a very disciplined and a very organised team, and have got a very good out of possession record, but are very good in possession with their strengths. They've got some good ball carriers, they have good energy, and they look to put the ball in the box and to get numbers in there to cause chaos. So it's going to be a really good test for us, but something that we're attacking head on, because we've got the confidence and momentum of the first two games, even with the two setbacks of the injuries, that we're just looking to continue that to Halifax. And it's another good opportunity to play against a team and maybe get a result against a team that we've not got a result against in the last couple of seasons, or haven't picked up as many points as we'd ideally like. We did that against Woking on Saturday, so it's another challenge for the group in terms of trying to put that right.
Yeah, and how is everyone looking physically ahead of tomorrow? Of course, Brandon Houndstrup was a new arrival, a familiar face coming back into the building. I think he's just been sort of come off the back end of a minor injury a little bit, and obviously Jean on Saturday just getting in before the game and then making his debut a little later on as well.
Yeah, we've got a couple of individuals that we're just going to have to manage over the next kind of 6 to 7 days with the 3 games. I think Saturday emotionally and physically took it out of the group. It was the first away travel, and it was the first long travel as well, and the heat on the day, obviously alongside the actual incident that happened, it felt like a a long weekend, and we've got a couple of bodies that we've just got to manage on the back of that, so we'll be looking to freshen things up as we would normally do with a Saturday Tuesday turnaround anyway. But Bran will be coming back into the group, and then we've just got to assess today and tomorrow morning on a couple of other individuals whether it's right to put them back in or whether they need a little period of rest, and let some of the players tag in, and so that we hit the markers out of possession and to hit the markers in our running to make sure that our output doesn't drop across the board.